Today we're going to talk about how I draw my cartoon horses. I'm going to take you step by step through the process, and hopefully it will be a learning experience. So the first step is a box. Always start with a box. Now, what is our box for, you might ask? Well, the box is always the start of the body, at least for me. And then we have our 2, 3 or 4 circles. It depends on the angle. I'm going to do just like a side-on angle first. That's the one I'm most practiced at. It's the one that's easiest for me, so that's what I'm going to do first. So always have a large circle on the leftmost side, which is for like the thigh. And then you can either have a circle for the chest, and then a circle for each shoulder, or just a circle for each shoulder, and you shape the chest how you like later. So now we have our sort of body shape. What are we going to do about the neck? Well, I like to pose my horse standing up most of the time, and so you can draw your neck as either a triangle shape, like this, or a box shape, which you can also see. Both works. I suppose it depends on the kind of horse that you're going for, or the vibes. You know, if you're doing like character design wise, you know, square, circle, triangle theory. It doesn't matter that much. And all you want to do now is you need to connect the top of your box or your triangle about halfway with a circle. And to this circle, we're going to draw a box. And now we have like the sort of cheekbone, the bottom of the jaw of the horse, and the general sort of direction of the face, and then a circle for where we want the muzzle shape to go. And now we're going to move down to the rest of the body. So we'll do back legs first. So for back legs, do sort of expanding cylinder. So it's wider at the top and thinner down at the bottom. I'm sorry I don't know the technical name for this shape, but I would imagine that a funny cylinder will do, because the hock kind of juts out from the rest of the leg, at least in my cartoon horses. You can draw it a bit more like this. Sometimes, depending on the pose, you want the hock to be directly under the point of hip, which is this bit here on the end, or to kind of be a bit back further out if your horse is posing. It doesn't entirely matter. And then you have a circle for your hock joint, and then another cylinder for your cannon bone on the back, and then a circle for your fetlock, and then a triangle to represent your hoof. And then on the front, this again is another funny cylinder, but it's a bit more straight than the other one, where it was a bit more of a curved shape. It's a bit more straight now. And then a circle for the knee joint. It should be about in line, if not a bit below the hop. And then another cylinder. The fetlocks and the hooves of both should be fairly in line. It doesn't entirely matter, but it's better if they are in line. And then I'm also going to pose the other one of each leg's, doing something. So we're going to have this horse picking up its leg, because then we can see how our joints move when everything's bending. Same with this back leg here. I want to view everything bending. Now you can use it for your hoof either a triangle or a trapezium. I personally switch between the two depending on the angle. I use a triangle or a trapezium, it doesn't matter. And then I like to draw a line for where the direction of my tail is, and then maybe a line for the general sort of flow of my mane, and then the direction of my ears. Then you've got your basic horsey shapes sorted. And now to the actual defining of the features. Here's where I like to use a mechanical pencil instead of a standard it's just HB pencil, that one. It's a little V shape for like the nostrils. Do a V shape on each side, and then a line here to represent the curve of the rest of the nose. Now, if you were doing it from a 3/4 angle, you could put another one here for where the rest of the nostril is, but because we're trying to maintain a side profile, I won't. And then a little dip here to show that we have like the jaw, a straight line or like a sort of curved line here. And then the ears, something I like to do with the ears is the ears follow the shape of the jaw. So you can always draw your jawline up to the ears and then follow your nose line up to here, about where your big circle meets your square. And then you have the orbit of the eye, that's what this line here is. And then a little line here to separate the face. And then straight line for the side of the face. Again, if you were doing a 3/4 angle, you would have a line here and a line here for the, well, actually, I'll do it for a line for the nostril and a line for the orbit of the other eye. Draw in the ears. Then we have the face of our horse. Give him a little eye there. And there we go. And now for the neck. So, I like to draw the neck with a curve for the shape first, going down into the chest, and then 2 lines for the muscles, and then a line for the crest. And then the shape of the chest, depending on the angle, is kind of like for me, a V shape, maybe a line here, because there's 2 little chest muscles here. And I like to create it as a sort of, like ruffled fabric. I think that's a fair comparison. And then you want to make your shoulders pointy, nice pointy shoulders. This line comes down into this little, again, your orbs and your spheres want to be pointy. The lines join down here. I'm not great at hooves, but the curve at the front, straight at the back is how I like to try and draw hooves. And then when you're in an action pose, the top of the knee I like to leave pointing up. And always have the point of the hoof going somewhere. And then we draw the withers, which is the pointy uppy bit. And then curved line. Now this can be drawn multiple ways. The barrel can be drawn multiple ways. So you can either draw it with a bit of sports horse like this, or more of a chill horse like this. Because our horse is a fairly chill horse, we're going to draw him with a round barrel instead of an angled one. Then a line here where the hip and the big thigh, I don't actually know what it's called, meets the body. A line here where the hock joint is. It's got that little sticky outy bone bit. And we draw our hoof in. You can draw muscle definition on the muscles. Doesn't have to be anatomically accurate. I mean, none of this is anatomically mega accurate. And then our leg that's extending. I'm just going to change the pose a little bit. There you go. And then for our tail, I draw a hair that comes down from the line where we've drawn our direction of the flow of hair. So we've drawn a kind of line of action of the hair, and now we just draw where we want it to go. I like to draw my hair very much not obeying the laws of physics. I like to draw it kind of a bit more wild than it should be. And for our mane here, you can have the mane kind of follow the shape of the head. You kind of draw these lumpy lines here. You can come down. I like to flick or do these little zigzags to give my hair that sense of like multiple layers and multiple bits of texture going on. Your lines in there. And then for the forelock, you can draw it covering the eyes, you can draw it next to the eyes. We have a happy horse. It's definitely looking a bit janky, but it's okay. You can look a bit wonky. Now, I think I'll also do a few drawings about horses from different angles as well. So I'm going to try and draw a leg from the front. I've always struggled with this. So you still draw the leg from a front angle is fairly the same part till you get to this bit with the hoof. You draw like this, or you can draw it like this, where the hoof's kind of pointing forward, it's in front of the body. As well, the neck, draw the neck from the front. This sort of cylinder shape, you know, I really like to shape it like this. And then you can always draw in your hooves. I really like to have these hoof pose drawings where you can see that this is where the line of the shoulder is. This is where you have the like the breast muscles. And you have your definition there and there. Also a head from a different angle. More of a side, well. Say that our nostril lines are where they should be. And here, I like to think of the horse's head, well, it's like having planes of the face like ours, which it does, but it's important to think about the planes of the face. So there's the arches here are higher than the plane of the face here, and that's kind of the same. Here's a bit darker, here's a bit darker. Also, character design wise, you can have your square horse characters, which draw square horse characters. I like to make the nostrils a bit longer, really enunciate the kind of edges and the boxiness, yeah, to make it very boxy. For your triangle characters, which are obviously a bit more spicy, to draw kind of sharp lips, very spiky. I like to draw them with thin faces and angled eyes. Really give that kind of sharp angles again, sharp lines on the neck and the rest of the body. Really giving that sharp vibe. Maybe even draw some extra sharp lines in there. Spiky hair is always a good one for triangles. And then for circle characters, we'll draw our circle character here. And I like to for circle characters, I like to really emphasize the well, as you can imagine, the circular nature. So curvy nostrils, we don't do curvy nostrils on any other ones, and that's curvy lips. And usually a smile. And really make most of those lines very, very soft and curvy. And you can also make the line of the ears curvy as well. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. It's nice. Soft lines. I must admit, circles are my weakness. I'm really bad at circle characters. They're probably my worst. I can't draw characters with lots of circles. I find it very hard. So hopefully this is a good example of how to draw each kind of style of horse. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video and you would like to see more like this, please like and subscribe.